The ruins of Hungo Pavi, Pueblo are found in the Chaco Culture National Historical Park. Hungo Pavi was translated in 1849 as Crooked Nose. The ruins are located in Chaco Canyon, about halfway between Pueblo Bonito and Una Vida, Pueblo, at the mouth of Mockingbird Canyon. The ruins have not been excavated and are covered by centuries of blowing sand, rubble, and desert vegetation. It is thought the Pueblo had about 150 rooms. It is unusual in having a central elevated kiva along with a great kiva in the plaza. It has the familiar D shape of many Chacoan great houses. In this case, the straight side of the D faces north. That room block included 3 rows of rooms and stood at least 3 stories tall along the rear wall. Construction occurred in 2 primary periods, between the late 900s and early 1000s, and again in the mid-11th century. The Chacoans migrated away in the 13th century. This is what the ruins look like from the start of the hiking trail. You can see what the desert vegetation is like, and also the stark but beautiful sandstone cliffs. Note the steps carved into the cliffs by the Chacoans. The steps lead to one of the intriguing roads the Chacoans were famous for. Getting a little closer to the ruins, they are dwarfed by cliffs behind them. The first ruins reached show the fine masonry of the construction. You can clearly see how thick the walls were. This is what arid Chaco Canyon looks like from the eastern end of Hungo Pavi. In the distance, you can see Fajada Butte. This is looking toward the cliffs from the north side of Hungo Pavi. You can plainly see those steps the Chacoans carved into the sandstone. The chunks of sandstone that fall from the cliffs are interesting studies in themselves. This view sweeps from looking south across Chaco Canyon and then swings to the west to show the expanse of Hungo Pavi, especially the very straight north wall. I started walking along that north wall. Taking a closer look, note the fine workmanship. The row of holes was for poles that formed the ceiling of the room below and the floor of the room above. The north wall was fairly straight and quite flat. The masonry work was excellent. I think the pattern in the masonry is very pleasing. I feel the Chacoans thought the same thing too. This view shows a contrast between the larger stones inside the wall in the foreground with the smaller, more finely worked masonry of the wall farther inside the Pueblo. I found the sandstone cliffs to be quite attractive. The huge cracks in the cliff indicate slabs that will fall eventually, but the debris at the foot of the cliffs indicates that collapse seems to be a very long-term process. In this view, you can see how the fine masonry can be a veneer on the larger stones inside the wall. All these views show just how thick the walls were. Mud was used as mortar. The Park Service provides a bench for rest, pondering the magnificence of the Chacoan Empire, which disappeared in the mid-13th century. A solid, well-built wall that stood for over 1,000 years.